What's up, everybody? Ryan from Sports Card Radio. That's right, we are back before the National, an unexpected podcast because quite possibly the biggest sports card story in years dropped over the last week or so. And this show will be an entire discussion about what I'm calling the Panini Dak Prescott AutoPen scandal. Before we get all of that, just got back from Las Vegas and actually flew into San Francisco and saw the Giants and Marlins play an 11-inning thriller today. I think the final score was 9-7. Giancarlo Stanton hit 2 home runs today, so I had second row right behind home plate, just kind of off to the side slightly. So really, really good tickets. Why go to a game if you're not going to have a great experience and get really good tickets? Who the heck wants to sit in the upper deck of any sports stadium watching any kind of sporting event? But I was just at the Las Vegas Summer League. Lonzo Ball. What a great year this could be shaping up for basketball cards. Of course, we know who has the exclusive license, so they may fumble that opportunity. But Lonzo Ball looks legit. His jump shot right now is broken, and he's probably admittedly struggling with it. But the other day, he was the best player on the court, having a triple-double, absolutely controlling the game. Remember, those are 40-minute games where he's playing next to scrubs. And I was telling some of my Laker hater friends, imagine when that's LeBron James and Paul George running on the wing with him, how many assists and how many stats he might rack up. Also, Tatum for the Celtics, the third pick, looks very impressive. Kind of a scorer type guy. Going to be a good small forward in this league. For many years, it looks like has a little step back, kind of almost like a Dirk fadeaway jumper. That's kind of nice. Markelle Fultz, the number 1 pick, twisted his ankle. Semi-serious, probably is going to keep him out of action, I bet, for a little while. But should be fine before the start of the season. But you never know with those 76ers players who seem to get injured by the day. Tickets to Saturday's game, Lakers-Celtics, were selling for $250. And to put that in perspective, I've been to the Summer League the last 3 years. Nothing has ever even been close to that. They've never had a sellout until Saturday. Tickets are $35. It's general admission. You can get them in advance, and most of the times you can just walk up. But they sold out, and I happen to have some extras for Saturday because I was going to go, and I had been kind of flipping them for just marginal money, as stupid people don't realize that you could have went to the UNLV website and bought these for more or for less than what you were paying for me on StubHub. But that's part of the game. A lot of people are really stupid when it comes to buying tickets, and I take advantage of that every day. But anyways, I had some of these tickets left, and they were selling for $250, and I thought to myself, you know, as much as I love Lonzo Ball, and I just saw him the day before, it's hard to pass up close over $1,000 in ticket money for some tickets I paid $35 for. So sold those, hit the strip, was hanging out with my brother and a couple of our other friends, and just had a kind of a blowout time on Vegas. And unlucky at the dice table. I don't know if I've ever talked about my craps playing or my blackjack ability, but pretty bad. I bet if you looked at the gambling losses, pretty bad. Not much of a craps player, not much of a blackjack player this week, but oh well, had fun going out there. And keep an eye on those NBA rookies because a couple of them are going to be really good. And Lonzo Ball is spectacular. Thank you, LeVar Ball, for selling out the Las Vegas Summer League game. He sold out that game. The hypes he's generated for his son, who doesn't talk very much, is kind of soft-spoken, doesn't have an overly spectacular type flashy game where he's running down the court and dunking on people. He doesn't do that. It's more of a Jason, like I said on a previous podcast, I saw Jason Kidd, and what did he do? He had a triple-double the other day. Jason Kidd wasn't the most spectacular player you've ever seen, but he made the right play all the time. He was a coach on the court, and that's what Lonzo Ball is. And his dad has hyped this kid up to the fact that they're selling out Las Vegas Summer League games, and it's $250 to get in it. So while all you fucking idiots hate on LeVar Ball, I sit around and making a rack off his ass, scalping some Summer League tickets because he's hyping his son. So another reason, anybody who hating on LeVar or the Ball family, you guys are dumb as fuck. You could be sitting around cashing checks thanks to the hype LeVar's generating. Oops, they did it again. Oh my God, I'm talking about Panini. Panini, Dak Prescott, AutoPen scandal. And if you've been fucking hiding under a rock, this is the biggest sports card story of the year. I don't give a fuck about Aaron Judge. I don't give a fuck about anything else. The little mistake with the National Treasures card Panini had earlier in the year. The tack football fake autographs that were found and that they had to admit. This is the hugest story in sports cards. It caught mainstream attention. It's still being talked about. And the repercussions will be felt for many, many years. You can trust me on that. You guys who are too busy fondling the fucking cards, jerking off at every Tracy Hackler tweet, you guys aren't going to realize the repercussions and the damage this scandal is going to cause for many, many, many years in not only the football card market, but the entire hobby itself. But we're going to run down the entire story, and we're going to stick to the facts because over the past week, for better or worse, it's almost like, the political commentators have come out of the woodwork. Everybody has an opinion on what Panini did say or should say, or what it really meant, or what Dak should or shouldn't say. A lot of amateur lawyers out there, some real lawyers, even can't help themselves to speculate and talk about this Dak Prescott AutoPen scandal. But we're going to stick to the facts. What actually happened and what were the excuses or justifications given for these cards to have shown up in the first place. Why do the facts matter so much? Instead of why don't we speculate what Panini really meant in their statement and what Dak really did or didn't do or who did what? The facts really matter because outside of you hardcore card fondlers and guys who jerk off every time Tracy Hackler tweets, the normal buyers out there, the casual buyer, the person who has no idea about football cards and heard about this story, the people who are Cowboys fans and had no idea about cards and heard about this story. Millions of people heard about this story. They're not going to be playing 3D fucking chess, deciphering what Panini's statement is and what Dak did or didn't do, guys. They're going to go by the fucking facts that ESPN told them, that Deadspin told them, that Colin Cowherd told them, that the Washington Post told them, and countless other agencies, USA Today, on and on and on down the line. Just about every mainstream news organization, sports or otherwise, that you could think of, wrote an article or had some kind of video on the Dak Prescott AutoPen scandal. Tell me the last time that happened in sports cards, a story that huge made the Washington Post, made USA Today, made ESPN, made Deadspin. Cowherd was talking about it on his show. Countless other ESPN bits on it. That hasn't happened since I've been around the sports card world in quite a long fucking time. So the facts matter because the majority of people finding out about this story aren't going to play 3D fucking chess deciphering what Panini said and what they really meant and what they, had to do to appease Dak and appease the NFLPA. We're going to stick to the fucking facts. Because bottom fucking line, this story will haunt and impact the sports card industry for many years. And the facts are what's going to get replayed over and over and over. This actually isn't a very complicated story. Here's how it went down. Collectors have been waiting for Dak Prescott to sign his 2016 Panini Prism football autographed rookie cards for many months. That product came out, Lord knows when, last year probably. It's been at least 6 months. Wait. He hasn't signed them. They finally showed up in Panini's mailbox, and they started mailing them out to customers. One collector who posted on the Blowout Card forums, he had what I guess they're calling them the gold vinyl parallel, quote-unquote autographed by Dak Prescott. Pretty valuable card. Rookie card, Dak Prescott, superstar. It's one of the reasons why this story's blown up is because the guy's a big deal. And he plays for a team that's a big deal. So the guy who gets these 4 Dak Prescotts that Panini had just got, he immediately sends them into Beckett. Got him over there pretty quick. Well, Beckett sees these 4 cards and sees a big problem. They refuse to grade these cards, certify these cards. In fact, they think the autograph was machine made by something known as an AutoPen that anybody could buy. And you can program your signature into it. You can program how high you want it to set, how big a signature you want. People use these, people in the political sphere, people who have to sign a lot of things or, AutoPen a lot of things. There's a market for these. And that's what happened here. These were AutoPenned with Dak Prescott's signature. So what happened is Beckett contacted Panini and say, hey, we have a huge problem here. And since they're in the same city, maybe they even just went over there and showed them the cards. Subsequently, Panini recalled several FedEx shipments of some Prism cards that were already sent out. So collectors had gotten the email that, hey, your card's on the way, your Dak Prescott's on the way. Oh, super excited. And then all of a sudden it got pulled out back by FedEx or the mail carrier. Some of them hit collector's door. Some of those ended up on eBay. And that helped also compare that the 4 the guy had sent in and that got rejected, there were some other copies available, and you could clearly see this was not a person signing these cards. And in fact, before Panini or before really anybody made a statement, somebody on Facebook had asked Steve Grad, authenticator on Pawn Stars, used to work for PSA DNA, has recently switched and started a different service at Beckett called Beckett Authentication Service. Well, they'll essentially do what PSA DNA does and certify that your autograph is real. And so somebody asked Steve Grad on Facebook, hey, what's up with this Dak Prescott stuff? This is what Steve Grad said. I do know about it. And while it's difficult to say with 100% certainty, there appears to be a machine-signed signature or several different being utilized by Dak Prescott. The similarities are almost identical. And it's possible several machine matrix are being utilized by him, but I have seen a small handful that don't appear by human hand. And Steve Grad even later on produced a video for Beckett kind of describing his rationale and also gave further quotes in a Beckett article that I encourage you to check out since they are the authenticator in this matter and were the first to kind of spot that there was something amiss with these Dak Prescott cards. So those are the facts. Panini got some cards, or there were some cards produced with an AutoPen Dak Prescott signatures. We do not know where those came from. If those came from Dak Prescott, if that came from his agent, or if those came from Panini themselves. Tracy Hackler in there using the AutoPen to sign Dak Prescott cards. We don't know if that happened or didn't. Shortly after this had become a thing on the Blowout Sports Card Forum, and Steve Grad was getting blown up asking him about what happened here, I wrote a story on Sports Card Radio, Dak Prescott AutoPen scandal. The very next day, ESPN runs a full story basically confirming what I just told you, that there were these cards. They got sent to Beckett, and they had been determined that there was an AutoPen used. Several other news outlets, when a big story breaks, all the news outlets kind of copycat each other. And this happened with this ESPN story, which doesn't happen all the time, but it did with this because it's a very unique, kind of interesting story. And certainly, again, Prescott's a big deal, and he plays for a team that's a big deal. Pro Football Talk kind of reiterated what Rovell says. Later that day, Beckett Media further clarified what they thought about the Prescott cards, that they did think that they were auto-penned. Someone at Beckett reached out to a Karen Austin, Assistant Vice President of Licensing at the NFLPA, and she said she had no comment. A couple hours after the ESPN article dropped, USA Today wrote an article. Comprehensive article. They reached somebody at Panini, and they said the company is looking into it. But the rep hung up the phone when USA Today Sports asked for the person's name. Again, so these are part of the facts. That's USA Today called Panini and they hung up the phone on him. That will be part of the narrative and part of the storyline. Later on that day, the Washington Post wrote an extensive article on the scandal. In it, they linked to Rovell's article, they linked to some Beckett articles, and they even linked to Sports Card Radio, and also embed a video that my brother did on the 2014 Panini Flawless Mislabeled Game-Worn Jersey Card Scam. So that video is embedded into the Washington Post's website. People can go to the Washington Post and listen to my brother talking about how people at Panini need to be fired. And this was back in 2014. Significant news coverage once the ESPN story broke that cracked this open. Panini waited a full 2 days to respond, and we'll talk about the damage that 2 days did. Panini waited full 2 days to respond, and here was their rationale for where those Dak Prescott cards came from. Dak Prescott and his representatives have worked closely with Panini during this process since becoming aware of the discrepancies and have no knowledge of how those cards were returned to Panini. So they're from Dak Prescott and his team basically alluding to Panini America, hey, we don't know where these cards come from. We don't know if they were auto-penned by Dak or his agent or his girlfriend or his sugar baby or his mother or Ezekiel Elliott, or if it was auto-penned by somebody at Panini, an employee that was pressured to get these signed since collectors had been waiting. And waiting and waiting and waiting. And when are you going to get Dak to sign these cards? And maybe a pressured employee decided to use an auto pen. We do not know. And from that statement, Panini and Dak say, hey, we have no idea how these cards came about. Panini did say in their statement that Panini America officials determined that a small quantity of Prescott autographs received for 2016 Prism football may not be authentic. Okay? So we don't know where the cards came from, and they may not be real. That's what we know. That's what Panini has told you. And also that some of the Prescott Prism cards are still unaccounted for, whatever the fuck that means. So bottom fucking line, here are the 3 bullet points you need to take from Panini and their statement on what happened. And this again was 48 hours after they got fucking blown up by ESPN, USA Today, Deadspin, Coward, Washington Post, Sports Card Radio, all-time record traffic. All-time record. Somebody for the Washington Post was on that website. He's one of the people that was on the site looking at the article. And several others and some videos. So lots of people saw this. Bottom fucking line, this was Panini's response 48 hours later. Don't know where the cards came from. They may or may not be real. And some are still missing. And you fucking guys who like to fondle fucking cards. Guys who have to make a living off this industry. Guys who are in love with licensed football cards. Guys who wait breathlessly for every Panini blog post. You guys will play 3D fucking chess with those 3 points and make up every fucking excuse in the book for why Panini's not at fault and you should blame Dak and this person did it or that person did it and blah, 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 blah. And everybody's going to understand that this was the real meaning behind their statement that came 48 hours too late. This is what the 99.9% of people are going to hear. And I'm going to play this for you. It's a bit on the Colin Cowherd show that you might have to sit down before listening to this, because it also includes some former players joking and clowning on the sports card industry as a whole. This is about 3 minutes and certainly worth a listen.
Do you care if Dak Prescott used a machine to sign a lot of the autographs?
No, what? No, not at all. Guys, you remember a year ago, this time, what Dak Prescott was doing? He was trying to get on the Cowboys roster. He was a practice squad quarterback. And now he's in a controversy over autographs? I mean, we had Eli Manning with this. Now we got Dak Prescott. If I'm an athlete, I don't do autographs. You know, I just would say no thank you. I'm not getting out of a car and signing footballs for 50-year-old men and so they can go sell them on the black market. I'm just not doing autographs.
By the way, I don't take a check to the bank anymore. I take a picture of it, and my bank accepts it. If I travel and lose my passport, I can show them a picture of it. The world's changed. I'm getting an autograph. It's a copy of an autograph. What, my bank accepts it? My airport will accept it, and I can't get a free autograph from Dak Prescott. I'm outraged by that. I'm not bothered by it.
I'm going to be honest. I had a stamp, and I know Eric probably had a stamp too. Because back in the day when they were doing all those football cards, and you had all those. Now it was your autograph, it was your signature, but it was just a stamp, and that's what you did. And I know you did it, ED.
I'm not going to say I didn't have a stamp.
Yeah.
What I'm going to say is that I didn't use them on the issue. I'll tell a quick story. There was the one issue I had to have 5,000 cards signed. My agent called me. I got to have 5,000 cards signed, and I need them by tomorrow. And I told him I'm not signing 5,000 cards. He said, I tell you what, you sign 100 of them, and I'll take care of the rest. So I signed 100 cards. So I'm saying this is only an issue for Dak.
That's even worse.
Well, hold up. No, that's what I was asked to do.
Okay.
And I signed the cards that I was asked to sign.
Oh.
So Dak, if Dak is saying I personally signed all of these cards, then and he didn't, that's an issue.
That's
right. If Dak has a deal where he's being told, okay, sign these cards, well, I'm not signing all of these. Well, you sign a certain amount and we'll handle the rest. No one knows what's happening
If
behind
you're a
the scenes.
Cowboy fan, do you really want your quarterback to have carpal tunnel? I mean, seriously, do you really want your quarterback spending 9 hours and then literally on Monday he can't throw the ball?
What kind of money is on the line here with a couple autographs? Like, what
For
is...
$1,000, you're talking about like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000.
Yeah.
Except for the late great Arnold Palmer, he was the only one that we know of that signed everything.
Everything, yeah.
Everybody else, because you can't.
Why you like?
Yeah, I'm looking at you like you. Hey, I'll take care of it. So your agent was sitting there stamping those cards.
I have no idea.
Listen, plain ignorance, Eric. I don't know what
I
happened.
cannot confirm or deny.
Years ago,
Maybe they only put 100 out.
Years ago, somebody came to me in a little distress and said, "Hey, would you be interested in a collector's business?" It was in Las Vegas. And I said, "No." He goes, "You're a sportscaster. It would be great. Why wouldn't you go into it?" And I said, "Come on, bro." I'm like, what percentage of that stuff is even real?
Yes.
We've all known forever that they predict now it's like 75% counterfeit.
Yeah.
We all know the game except some guy in Dallas.
Hey, ex-OJ. how important that its paraphernalia is right now.
I mean, I see things all the time. You still see things where they'll say this is game worn.
Oh,
and all
come
stuff.
on.
I'm like, I know I didn't wear that jersey.
Thanks, Panini. Great job, guys. You sat on your ass for 48 fucking hours and you got roasted. That was one of many ESPN cuts of people sitting around laughing about the sports card industry, saying how they had a stamp to use to sign cards, saying how they'd sign 100 and they wouldn't know what happened behind closed doors, saying that they seen something that was said it was game used, and he said, "I know I never wore that jersey." Colin Cowherd saying that 99% of this shit is fake anyways. Wouldn't invest in a sports business. Panini sat around for 48 hours while the sports card industry got fucking barbecued. There were even some articles in some, quote, somewhat respected news outlets that were saying that maybe Beckett was just making all this up to drive business to their new, quote, Beckett authentication services. And that Steve Grad was just grandstanding. And he was lying about all this. And Dak had to sign these cards. He's such a great person. Never would do that. A ludicrous accusation again, because the company who fucking made these cards sat on their fucking ass for 48 hours and didn't say shit except hang up the phone on the USA Today. So Beckett gets fucking roasted. Cowherd and Warren Moon and all the other football players on his show just have some chuckles and say how everything's fake anyway, so who gives a fuck? There were people questioning, well, what does it really matter if it's auto-penned or if it's really autographed? Which would be absolutely ludicrous discussion to have on this podcast or anything related to sports cards to discuss if that's even a viable option. Why don't they just auto-pen everything? It'd be a ludicrous discussion to have on this. It'd be ludicrous to say that, oh, that's what Panini should do. I just think that's better. Nobody in the hobby would go for that. Everybody sees the value in the person actually sitting down, even if they write a little check mark like Vernon Morency, or they're half passed out with the stripper on their lap signing them in Vegas. Everybody sees the value of the person actually signing that card, or in this case, now these dumb fucks use stickers. But for 48 hours, Panini let it kind of hang out there that why was that a big deal? Panini should have been hammering home that it is a big deal. That's the crux of their whole business. Is to buy cards because Dak Prescott's signature is really worth something above and beyond what a fucking stupid auto pen would be worth. Dak Prescott's autographs have value. Joe Montana's autographs have value. Come buy our products. They're in here. They're real. He signed them. We know it. We guarantee it. So you guys out there can blame whoever the fuck you want. But isn't that Panini's business? To sell authenticated autographs? Because the auto pen versions are fucking shitty and will cause a fucking shitstorm for your ass to get blown up on fucking ESPN, Pro Football Talk, Washington fucking Post, USA fucking Today, Colin Cowherd, who knows who else I'm missing. One of your comrades in this industry Beckett grading got fucking blown up by some local news outlets saying that they made all this shit up. Your business is to prove and to guarantee that these autographs are real, because if they're not, it's obviously a huge fucking problem. So I don't give a fuck who did it, how it all happened, what they should say, what they really meant. This is what I really meant. This is what they really meant. Poor Panini, poor Tracy Heckler. Sorry you guys are going through this. Saw some fucking people wrote. This is their job, to prove and to sell that a Dak Prescott autograph that he signed with or without a stripper on his fucking lap is real, as opposed to an AutoPen version, which everybody in the hobby would turn their nose up to. Or as Warren Moon said, he had a fucking stamp. Or as the other football player said, well, I signed 100 and who knows what else happens in the back. So there's some other stories for you now. Isn't it Panini's job and ultimately their fucking responsibility to prove these are real? Well, we got big fucking problems. So in the moment of truth, when all this gets called into question on a mass stage, mass media stage, you know, like Colin Cowherd said, who gives a fuck? I just take a picture of Dak's autograph and send it to him. Who cares if it's auto-penned or stamped or whatever? Who really cares? There's that side, and then there's 100% of any sane-minded card collectors who would say, no, it is a big deal. It is a big deal that he really signed it, that Dak Prescott really signed it. That's a big deal. I'd much rather have that. I'd pay way more money to get one that was really signed by him. I would pay more money for that than one that was stamped or facsimile or auto-penned or signed by his mother or signed by his stripper that was on his lap at the time. No, he can write a check mark by Vernon Morency, and I'll still blow a nut when I pull one out of a box. You can even put it on a sticker, and I'll accept it. Gosh, wouldn't it have been easier all these years ago, instead of doing sticker autographs? Why didn't they just fucking do AutoPen? Put it on the card. Fuck these stickers. Just get everybody to sign once, program it into the AutoPen machine, and there it is. How many John Elway autographs do you need? How many Daks do you need? So in this time of need to explain this to the rest of the world and all these people that don't get it, like Cowherd, and these other people who blamed Beckett for all this, that they were grandstanding and just trying to get business, which is a ridiculous statement. Ridiculous that ended up in the news. So in this moment of need, where was Panini? Where the fuck was Panini? Hung up the phone on USA Today. Nobody else could get a comment. They left the entire industry hanging. They left Beckett hanging out to dry. They left any other manufacturer to get scrutiny and heat. Maybe Topps is doing it. Maybe Leaf is doing it. Maybe the Prescott's cards he signed for Leaf are fake. This impacted everybody. And in the time of need, it's time to step up, hit the game-winning shot, come through for your team. Panini was nowhere to fucking be found. And again, 48 hours later, these were their 3 bullet points from their statement. We don't know where the cards came from. They may or may not be real. And some are still missing. So, chuckle away Warren Moon, chuckle away Colin Cowherd, chuckle away people who took pot shots at Beckett. Everybody's just going to chuckle now, cards. why do those fucking dorks even care? Why do those even card molesters even care if he really signed it? Just send him a facsimile version. Have him auto-pen it. I don't want Dak to get carpal tunnel. I don't want my quarterback with a sore wrist. I want him throwing touchdowns. Who do you think the common man's going to blame? Well, all you fucking little card molester fanboys are going to blame Dak? What do you think the millions of people that heard about this fucking story, who do you think they're going to fucking blame? You morons. You had countless people, literally, in this industry come to the defense of Panini, most notably DA Cardworld, who even in their very short article about it, entitled "It Wasn't Panini's Fault," they even said, "Oh, we don't do this often, but we feel very strongly." I mean, how far up DA Cardwell's ass is Panini's dick? I mean, that is just insane. The owner of DA Cardwell must, personally give hand jobs and rim jobs to the CEO of Panini to fucking write a thing about that. You fucking card molesters and your own little fucking clique and your own little community, you can blame Dak. That's what you're going to do, because you have to keep the addiction going. Keep the train moving. You're addicted to these licensed football cards. You're not really tied to Panini. If Topps or Upper Deck or Leaf got the license, you'd be licking their nuts and making excuses for every mistake or blunder or purposeful mistake they ever make. And again, we don't know where the cards came from. They may or may not be real, and some may be missing. You even had D.A. Carwell say, "Hey, it wasn't their fault." Did you see any group breaker say, "Hey, we're going to stop breaking products for a week and reevaluate. We're not going to go to the VIP party this year. I'm going to speak out for our customers"? I didn't really see anything. Maybe it got buried under the Washington Post, Deadspin, ESPN, and countless other places that were ripping whoever they wanted to shreds. Card molesters who have to feed this need of buying the new rookie or the new product or the new year of cards. A certain set they gotta have. They gotta have it in their hands and touch it. All over the place. These card molesters, they need that. Anybody with a stake like D.A. Cardwell, he can't stop selling Panini products. His bills wouldn't get paid. His wife would be mad at him. Trouble would be at home. So of course he's going to write an article saying it wasn't Panini's fault. And group breakers and all that stuff. And dealers and card dealers. There's just a card dealer on the blowout card forum that just excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. It's really not Panini's fault. It's Dak's fault. Meanwhile, for 48 hours, the perception is that who really cares if it's auto-penned or not? Why does it matter? And, well, isn't all this shit fake anyways? So who really cares? Again, that seemed to be the gist of a lot of the people poking fun at it. And again, the Washington Post linked to Sports Card Radio to a page that lists all of Panini's blunders. And then they also embedded a video my brother did on the 2014 Panini Flawless Football scam. So people who are coming into this hobby and looking at it in a blind eye are either kind of wondering what the big deal is about, like who really cares? Are these guys really dorks? Do people still collect cards? I don't want Dak to sign shit anyways. He's going to get carpal tunnel. I'd rather him throw touchdowns. That's what people are saying. Warren Mood, I had a stamp. The other guy, I signed 100, and then who knows what happened in the back. Cowherd, 99 of the shit's fake anyways. The other player, I'd see something that was game used, and I know I never worn it. That was on a 3-minute bit on ESPN. While Panini sat on their fucking hands, or they were fucking DA Cardwell, or they were going around getting rim jobs from every breaker, every dealer who has to sell these assholes products. The flawless thing, the mistake from a few years ago, that was a big deal within the hobby because that was a $2,000 product. Very few people were going to buy that. That wasn't a mainstream story because people really, if they can't even understand why an auto-penned auto and a real autograph, what's the big deal between that? If they can't figure that out, they're not going to be able to figure out a $2,000 product that has some cards that are labeled, see if I can get this right, that are labeled game used that were supposed to be labeled event used. Do you really think people are going to figure that out? So no, that wasn't a big story. The reason why this was a big story because it was Dak Prescott, because he's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys and he had a huge year last year and there's a lot of expectation, and he's a superstar right now in the NFL. How that plays out in the future, who knows? But right now, the guy's a fucking superstar. And everybody can kind of catch on, well, wait, he used a machine to sign autographs? That's going to make the news. That's going to make people laugh. That's going to make New York Giants fans be like, oh, well, yeah, fuck Dak. Hope he gets fucking hurt or hope they sue his ass. That's going to get Cowboys fans to be like, well, I don't want him to sign autographs anyways. Well, who's this company? Well, I think he probably did sign him. Or, oh, this grading card company, they're just grandstanding. And this Steve Grad guy, he's just trying to get business for Pawn Stars and his TV show and his new Becca grading services. That's all this is. Oh, you can actually see slight differences in the auto pen. Look, he signed it in different spots. And there's this little mark. Everything else is exactly the fucking same, except there's this little mark by the D. Now we got to explain how auto pens work and how there can be slight discrepancies and how those work and how you place it. And these card surfaces, a lot of times it's probably not flat. It's rounded. Maybe some fucking dust on it like the old Bowman Chromes card used to have. Who knows what's on it? Who knows who's doing it? Whether it's Tracy Hackler or whether it's a Dak stripper or Dak's agent or the CEO of Panini, Mark Warsup. Who knows who's doing it? We don't know. Again, Panini says they don't know where the cards came from. They may or may not be real, and some are still missing. So we don't really know, and they don't either. So I'm fucking done. I don't have fucking time for this shit. Again, you card molesters are going to make excuses for any whoever has the license. You're going to rim job them, have your dick up their ass, and you're going to make excuse for every fucking thing they do because you have to. So I'm done. 40 minutes in. You guys can eat a fucking dick. I was at the fucking Summer League. Lonzo Ball's the next fucking Jason Kidd. You can suck a fucking dick. LeVar Ball sold out the place and made me over $1,000. Thanks, LeVar. Thanks, Big Balla. Ha ha ha. I was staying at the Vidar. I saw DeMarcus Cousins chilling. He was staying there 3 different times. I saw all the fighters, Bisbing, Faber, all these fighters my buddies knew who were. I didn't have any fucking idea. Harden in the lobby. Every single Summer League team was practically staying at the Vidar. You would never, if you weren't staying there, you would never walk to the Vidar. There's no casino, there's no nothing. But shouldn't that clue you in that, let's see, DeMarcus Cousins was staying there. All the fighters, Faber, Bisbing, these women fighters who are on the card. We saw all the NBA teams were staying in the Vidara. Summer League teams were staying in the Vidara. And guess who else? That's me fucking dusting myself out. Guess who else was staying there all week and who had a suite? So you think all those other guys are staying there and me? Yeah, exactly. I don't have fucking time for this shit. Peace the fuck out. Suck a fucking dick. All you guys licking Panini's fucking ass. Because that's what you're doing. Holler at your boy. I'll be at the National. Every time I walk by the Panini table, I'll yell out. I'll make it very audible. Who the fuck signed the Dak cards? See you then.